Great to be here, and it is lovely to see everybody here on such a gloomy day, but I know there's hopefully lots of happiness in here and good vibes. But I want to just swing by briefly. I've got to run up to Hartford right after this, and I'd stay a little bit longer if the trip to Hartford weren't an hour away or more. But I wanted to at least come in and to say hello to everybody. First off, I want to thank the Cultural Alliance of Fairfield County for all the work that they're doing to bring everyone together on so many important issues. The Cultural Alliance is funded very small by the state, but it's an important investment, I think, just like many of the arts and cultural organizations that we have that also receive state investments. Because we view the Cultural Alliance as really an umbrella organization that helps bring these kinds of meetings together and that helps to really advocate and bring a louder voice to institutions that sometimes get lost in the fray. And so I appreciate the work that everybody does. And Angel, thank you for your work and your advocacy and everybody who's a part of it as well. So I want to just come here today again to and you probably all heard this a million times from me and I apologize, but to talk about how much I appreciate the work of all the cultural work that is done here in Fairfield County. Think that what our quality of life would look like if we did not have various places that people could go on the weekdays or weekends, and that how much they matter to us here in the state of Connecticut. So my background, we're a part-time legislature. My background is a realtor for 23 years now. And I can tell you, before I was involved in the political scene, I used to, when we had, I remember when UBS was coming into Connecticut, we used to do bus tours. And I would remember bringing people around the bus and talking about Lockwood Matthews Mansion, talking about stepping stones, talking about the Norwalk Concert Hall, talking about the various types of things that really are so important to people who are making a decision whether they live in New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut. And having so many of those institutions here, as when you're trying to market the state, really do mean a lot. And I don't mean to leave anybody out. I'm just saying that those are some of the things at the time that I was talking about. And that's just a small example of really so many of the important cultural institutions here in our area. I will say that at the Connecticut Preservation Trust and the Humanities Council, we have some new leadership there. We have some leadership at DECD that I hopefully are making some good partnerships down here as well as all across the state of Connecticut. And it's important for all of us to make sure that we do a few things. One is it's important for us to kind of stick together. And I said at the Barnum Museum in Bridgeport a little while ago that it was probably about a month ago. I was on a panel, and I said, you know, in sports, there's lots of funnel organizations. And arts and humanities have to learn to be funnel organizations as well. So if you think about kids who play soccer when they're very, very little, the whole reason why you get a lot of the kids who play soccer, besides it's easy for the parents to do that and to put their kids a t-shirt and a pair of shorts and send them on the field, is because they're trying to make funnel organizations for when the kids get older and they get up to high school. And they're actually competitive whether it's freshman, JV, or varsity. And they do the same with biddy basketball here in Norwalk when they teach them young, or the football team, or whatever it is. We need to be doing the same thing when it comes to cultural work for musical instruments, for historic preservation, for the humanities, and we need to start funneling kids when they're very young to make sure that when they get older, that they are as engaged in a lot of this stuff as you are today. So, thank you. I didn't plan that, but thank you. And you've all, I see Patsy Brescia, you all heard the story about when I was in 5th grade and I went to Lockwood Matthews Mansion and I fell in love with it after being driven there with my grandmother's Pinto. But I fell in love with it because I went there at a very early age, and that really spurred my interest in historic preservation. So think about the funneling aspect of young people and getting them engaged in these things early on for the investment, just like sports organizations do with kids at a very early age. Second thing is that when it comes to whether it's proposed cuts, whether it's people not recognizing the work that you all do, it's important that even though many of the people in here are very different organizations, have different interests, different entities, different slivers of what makes our state great, we all need to stick together. Really, really important to stick together. Because there's groups up at the Capitol, there's groups here in the city of Norwalk, there's groups in every single town that when the times get tough, they all come together and they have very loud voices. And we need to make sure that we all do the same in the arts organizations ourselves. It's really important to stick together. So I would just say this. One is that don't be shy about the impact you all have on what makes our state great. And our state is great. 2, funnel those kids up. 3, stick together as a team and work together, especially in the tough times when people are trying to take you down. Those are the things that I think are important, and that's why when we talk about shaping our community and placemaking and things like that, don't be afraid to brag, don't be afraid to tell your story, and make sure you get others to do the same. Social media is a very powerful tool, just like every other kind of media is as well. But it's important that we all kind of stick together on these things. So thank you, and keep up the good work of what you're doing, and stay in touch if you need anything from me. Have a great day, everybody.